Welcome to Inside Gaming, I'm Brian, it's the Weekend Roundup. The creator of No Man's Sky has some words of advice for the developers of... Yeah, I know, we can't do that. Welcome to Inside Gaming, I'm Brian, it's the Weekend Roundup. The creator of No Man's Sky has some words of advice for the developers of Anthem and Fallout 76. Keep your mouth shut and fix your game. Sean Murray, who founded Hello Games, talked about the issue at the Develop Brighton conference in the UK, and Murray definitely knows what he's talking about. You might remember that his game No Man's Sky launched in 2016 to a ton of expectations that the game did not live up to. It was written off as a flop. You might have seen some videos about it when we were the know, but the dev team kept working, culminating in the game's next expansion last year. And it's a good game now. It seemed to satisfy most of its detractors. Now, Murray said his team went nearly 2 years without talking to the press while they were busy adding features to the game. He added, "We went about 3 months without saying anything to the community either. That was really hard. I sat down so many times and wrote the perfect blog post that was going to explain everything about the game's development and the roadmap going ahead, but I could see that it didn't hold credibility with regards to where we were at." Nowadays, Fallout 76 and Anthem, they're definitely in a similar boat. Bad launches, games that are either broken or don't have enough content, and pissed off players. Now, Murray also mentioned Sea of Thieves in that group too. That had a rough launch, but I think it's kind of rebounded ever since. Now, as for those games, Murray said, "I can see EA, Microsoft, or Bethesda try to placate players by just talking to them, but for right or wrong, it just doesn't really work. You see this all the time when a big publisher will talk to the community and try to solve the problem and then get embroiled, taking up more and more of its headspace." Basically, he said, focus on working on the game, not talking about it. He later told Games Radar, "Talking about features when a game's already out isn't that credible or interesting. Your actions are so much more important than what you say." Good advice. Now, as for Fallout 76, Bethesda put the game front and center at E3 this year, so looks like they're not giving up on it. What about Anthem, though? Well, EA CEO Andrew Wilson has said that it's had a bad launch, but says he thinks of Anthem as being on a 7 to 10 year cycle, adding, "It may not have had the start that many of us wanted, including our players. I feel like that team is really going to get there with something special and something great." So, we will see. Moving on, Nintendo is going to start producing Switches in Vietnam instead of China, at least some of them. The AP reports that Nintendo is moving some production out of China, but an official denied that it was because of possible US tariffs being imposed on electronics made out of China. Instead, the official said they just wanted to avoid having all their production in one country. Sure, but the Japanese publication Nikkei said that yes, it's because of the fears of tariffs. Now, about 40% of annual Switch sales are in the US, and all production so far has been in China. Meanwhile, it's also been reported that Microsoft and Sony are looking to also move some production out of China to avoid that possible 25% tariff from the US government. Speaking of the Switch, it's also being reported that Nintendo is updating the original Switch model with a new CPU and flash storage chips. Now, this is not that much rumored Switch Pro. This is just kind of a hardware refresh to the existing OG Switch. It's something that console makers do quietly all the time. No word yet on if this will result in any performance improvements, but this is the Switch. It's not like the performance can get any worse. Boom, 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 we got him! Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. I like the Switch. I have a Switch. Some games it does not. It chugs on some games though. It looks like lots of developers want to be a part of Google Stadia. More than 4,000 game studios have applied to be partners with Stadia, which is how you're going to get your games onto the streaming service. Technical account manager Sam Corcoran said at the Develop Brighton conference that all the applications for the Stadia Partners program are being reviewed by human beings. Weird thing to say, Google, as Google starts to curate what's going to show up on the Stadia storefront. Definitely seems like a big response. Everybody likes to get onto a new platform early. Stadia set to launch in November.
Maybe they were originally going to have YouTube's algorithm do it, and they were just like, "Oh man, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Look at what it's done for YouTube."
Maybe we should hire actual people to do these things. Amazon Game Studios is involved in the development of a Lord of the Rings MMO. They're partnered with the Hong Kong-based holding company Liao, whose subsidiary Athlon Games is making the free-to-play game for both PC and consoles. Now, you might remember that MMO was announced last year, but at the time, Athlon only said they were working with an unnamed partner developer on the project. Turns out it's Amazon. Back then they said that the MMO will be set at a time long before the events of Lord of the Rings, exploring lands, people, and creatures never seen before by fans of the Tolkien universe. Now, The Verge reports that the game is being developed separately from Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings TV series and that the two are unrelated. Seems like a lot of games have ping systems these days, and Borderlands 3, it's gonna have one too. Developer Gearbox showed off the ping system in a video. It's got all the usual features. You can use it to mark enemies, NPCs, loot chests, random map locations. I like ping systems because that means I don't have to talk to anybody. That's my least favorite part of playing video games. I don't play video games to talk to people. Just me. That sounded really antisocial.
I mean, we are really antisocial.
That's true. Borderlands 3, just around the corner. It releases September 13th. We are antisocial. Like, there are people at Rooster Teeth I've never made eye contact with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But that might be because I'm just, B team. And,
I give everybody the respectful nod.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We won't be getting Psychonauts 2 this year. The long-awaited sequel has been bumped back to 2020, according to the game's official Fig page.
The kid is very upset by that.
Hold on, let me. Its developer Double Fine wrote, "We know it's always disappointing when you have to wait a bit longer, but we also know that you are an amazing, supportive bunch who, just like us, want the game to be as good as possible, so we're hopeful you'll understand." So, maybe people will be understand. We've waited this long. What's one more year? Just make a good game. All will be forgiven.
It's the Weekend Roundup Comment Roundup.
All right, Brian, our first comment
Okay.
this week is from Mark Denis, or Danis, one of the two, talking about the Trump tariffs. This is from a couple of weeks ago. He said, and do you think these poor companies will lower the cost after the tariffs are gone?
So he's saying they'll raise the price because of tariffs, and once the tariffs are gone, do I think they'll lower them again? Yes.
See, I don't think they will.
See, I think they will because I think gamers are very sensitive to price increases. Sure. A 25% increase is huge. Sure. So, like, if something goes up by that much, but then we also have access to the news. We'll know if the tariffs are gone, so it's not like we'll be able to, like, I know.
I mean, yeah, I'm very upset about it too.
I agree with you, baby. It's...
All right, this last question is from Codman Out, which is a cool name.
Okay.
Asking, is Brian growing his beard out? I think he might make it work.
Yes, the answer is yes. I know I look like a baseball player in the playoffs right now, whose team is like about to get eliminated in the first round. But yes, glad you noticed. Hope you like it. It's here until I look like ridiculous, and then I'll cut it off.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to games coming out next week. Up first, it's Lost Orbit Terminal Velocity. You play as Harrison, a maintenance worker stranded after his ship is destroyed in deep space. Armed with an improvised set of equipment, you'll need to use the gravitational forces of planets to navigate Harrison home while dealing with space pirates, aliens, asteroid fields, and more. You'll be able to pick this one up July 16th on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Summer Catchers is surprisingly not a game about baseball. It is, however, a game about taking an epic road trip from the frozen north through distant lands full of mystery and strange creatures, all in an effort to finally see and enjoy summer. Now, will you and your trusty wooden car complete the journey, or will you be stuck in what I can only assume is the ass end of Canada for the rest of your life? Find out when the game releases on PC July 16th. Up next, it's Defend the Keep. Defend your villages against waves of hogs, ogres, and insects. I'm guessing it's like giant insects. Surely it's not like defend your villages against hogs, ogres, and the dreaded dung beetle. Ah! Anyway, summon lightning, launch fireballs, build traps, and more to make sure your village stays safe. It's releasing July 16th for the PC. In Robo Instructus, you use the power of programming to instruct your little robot friend to solve puzzles. You'll start off using simple instructions like walk forward, turn left, etc., but eventually you'll learn new, more complex functions that'll help you to solve the puzzles in multiple ways. It's out July 16th for PC. Must Dash Amigos is a top-down battle racer for up to 4 players. Outrun your rivals in race mode and destroy them in battle mode. As the developers say, to survive in the world you cannot run, you must dash amigos. It's out for Xbox One July 16th. Porting over to the Switch, it's Let's Go Nuts. It's a party platformer for up to 4 players where you're trying to finish levels as quickly as possible while collecting nuts using movable objects. Maybe even these nuts. The game also promises super cute custom headgear for squirrels. Definitely a selling point for a game. You can collect this one on July 17th on the Switch. Night Call is a non-linear noir mystery game set in Paris where a serial killer is terrorizing the streets. You're a taxi driver, you survived a run-in with the killer yourself, and now you got 7 days to figure out who the killer is before the cops pin the whole thing on you. You'll need to interact with your passengers, gather information, and hopefully find the killer before time runs out. That seems important. It's releasing on PC July 17th. Entitled Tribe, You Are God. You shape the terrain. Oh, what does that seem like? ActRaiser or Populous? You shape the terrain to raise and lower the land to protect your villages from floods and waves while creating rivers and lakes to transform the desert landscape into a lush forest. Will you be a helpful god of creation or a vengeful god of destruction? Vengeful God, Vengeful God. It's coming out July 18th for PC. Etherborn is an environmental puzzle platformer where you'll play as a voiceless being in search of a bodiless voice that's awaiting your arrival. You'll explore, that's a match made in heaven. You'll explore gravity-shifting structures in exotic environments to solve carefully crafted navigation-based puzzles. You can pick this one up on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch July 18th. Another puzzle game, this one porting over from the Switch, it's Gabuchi. The Gabuchi creature looks a bit like an angry Tamagotchi. Its goal is to eat blocks in pursuit of its ultimate goal, to eat as many heart cookies as possible. The game comes with 180 stages to solve, but it also includes a level editor so you can make your own. As we said, already out on Switch, but it's releasing on PC and PS4 July 18th. Let's get some more 2D platforming in there. Horus is a game that blends eccentric British humor, a cinematic narrative, and nostalgic pop culture references from the 8 and 16-bit gaming eras, all into a comical but touching story of Horus's journey to save mankind. You'll have to guide Horus through classic 2D platforming challenges, but there are also many games to complete, including rhythm and first-person shooter challenges. Horus, it's out July 18th for PC. Here's something we didn't know was real. Did you know there's a racing league for semi-trucks? Well, in FIA European Truck Racing Championship, you too can hop behind the wheel of a 5-ton, 1,000-horsepower badass rig and race against 12 competitors, all in the name of winning championship gold. The description says something about respecting the race rules to avoid penalties, but we all know you're not going to pay attention to the rules, mainly because none of us actually know the rules. Pick this one up for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch July 18th. You know I love card games. Nowhere Prophet is a single-player card game where you take on the role of a powerful leader and mystic empowered with the gifts of technopathy. You'll travel across a procedurally generated map and battle it out against your enemies in a sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting. Build your deck, pick fights with slavers and broken machines, and hopefully lead your caravan to a mysterious crypt. What could go wrong? It's releasing July 19th for the PC. And it's finally here, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. Thanos has arrived with his ruthless War Masters, The Black Order, and it's time to assemble a team of Marvel heroes from the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, X-Men, and more to take him down. The game has online and local multiplayer support, and of course there will be DLC along the way to add more heroes. It's been a decade since the last Ultimate Alliance game, so hopefully it's a good one. It's out on the Switch July 19th. All right, that's all the news we've got for you today. Sorry for the baby crying in the background. Daycare wouldn't take her today, so she's off camera. I appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Turns out all those rumors about a mini Switch were true. A smaller, handheld-only version of the Switch releasing in just a few months.
Just like we predicted, Lawrence, all right?
Hey! It's a Gaming does it again!
Get used to that, because I'm gonna be smug as hell this entire episode.
I guess being wrong about GTA really humbled us.
Whatever, we didn't make those up. Whatever, it was a rumor. We said as much.
We did say it was a rumor.
Yeah, anyway. So Nintendo broke the